The Nissan Rogue has long been a popular choice for buyers who want a practical, family-friendly compact SUV without the premium price tag of a Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V. Since its introduction in 2008, it has become one of Nissan's best-selling vehicles, and for good reason. It offers a spacious interior, decent fuel economy, plenty of technology, and the kind of comfortable ride that appeals to commuters and small families alike. But popularity doesn't always equal perfection, and if you're considering a used Rogue today, you'll want to take a closer look at which model years are worth your money, how they compare to rivals, and what kind of ownership costs you might be signing up for. The Rogue has gone through 3 generations so far. The first ran from 2008 to 2013, the second from 2014 to 2020, and the third began in 2021. Each generation brought improvements in styling, interior space, and technology, but not all have aged equally well. The first-generation Rogue, while now quite dated, is cheap on the used market, often selling for between $5,000 and $8,000 depending on mileage and condition. They're basic by today's standards and not particularly refined, but if you're after bare-bones transport, they still get the job done. However, these early Rogues already showed signs of Nissan's transmission troubles, and buyers today should treat them cautiously. The second generation is where most used buyers focus, simply because there are so many of them on the road. These 2014 to 2020 models typically sell between $12,000 and $18,000 depending on trim and mileage. On paper, they look like great deals: a roomy cabin, respectable fuel economy, and lots of available features. The downside is the CVT transmission. Nissan leaned heavily on the CVT in these years, and reliability became a sore point. Many owners reported hesitation, shuddering, or outright failures. While Nissan extended warranties for some vehicles and covered repairs through settlements, plenty of used examples on today's market won't have that safety net. A failed transmission can cost anywhere from $3,500 to $8,000 to repair or replace, depending on whether you go to a dealership or an independent mechanic, and whether you opt for a new or rebuilt unit. That's the kind of repair bill that can wipe out any savings you thought you were getting from buying a used Rogue. Still, not every second-generation Rogue is a ticking time bomb. Some owners have logged over 150,000 miles without serious issues, especially when the CVT was serviced regularly. If you're shopping in this range, service records are everything. A Rogue that has had regular CVT fluid changes, and even a documented transmission replacement under warranty, could be a safer bet. Without that paperwork, though, you're rolling the dice. The third generation, introduced for the 2021 model year, is a different story. Nissan gave the Rogue a full redesign, with a far more refined interior, updated infotainment, and improved driving dynamics. It feels like a more polished product that can genuinely compete with the class leaders. These newer Rogues are still relatively expensive, with prices often starting in the high teens and climbing into the mid-$20,000 for lower mileage examples. While they haven't been on the road long enough to establish a bulletproof reputation, early signs suggest the redesign addressed many of the complaints about the previous generation. If your budget allows, the 2021 and newer models are the safest bet, giving you the modern features without as much baggage. So how does the Rogue stack up against the competition? Compared with the Honda CR-V and Toyota RAV4, the Rogue usually comes in a little cheaper on the used market. The CR-V, for example, often commands prices in the $18,000 to $25,000 range for recent models, while the RAV4 sits even higher, commonly stretching into the upper $20,000 for low-mileage versions. Both Honda and Toyota also have stronger reputations for long-term reliability, with fewer transmission issues and slightly lower average annual repair costs. The Honda CR-V averages around $407 per year in repair expenses, while the RAV4 averages about $429. The Rogue, according to RepairPal, averages closer to $450 to $500, which sounds competitive until you factor in the risk of a major transmission repair. Against the Mazda CX-5, the Rogue feels more practical but less refined. The CX-5 is consistently praised for its sporty handling and premium-feeling interior, but it tends to cost a little more used, with many examples listed between $20,000 and $27,000 depending on year and trim. The Subaru Forester is another alternative, often priced similarly to the Rogue, but it brings standard all-wheel drive and a reputation for durability, though some years have had their own engine-related complaints. Where the Rogue really shines is value. For the price of a base RAV4 or CR-V, you can often get a higher trim Rogue with leather seats, premium audio, and advanced safety features. That makes it appealing if you want more luxury on a budget. The catch is that you're trading some peace of mind in terms of long-term dependability. If you decide to buy a used Rogue, the smartest move is to prioritize the newer models from 2021 onward. They're still pricey, but they've addressed many of the weaknesses of the older models. If your budget keeps you in the 2014 to 2020 range, be cautious. Look for one with detailed service records. Check whether the CVT has been replaced or serviced under warranty, and invest in a thorough pre-purchase inspection. A mechanic can spot signs of transmission wear before you sign the paperwork. Also, budget an emergency fund, because while many Rogues are cheap to own, one big repair can swing the economics dramatically. In all, the Rogue is neither the best nor the worst choice in its class. It's a sensible, comfortable SUV with plenty of space and features, but it carries a history that requires buyers to do more homework than they might with a Honda or Toyota. If you want absolute reliability and don't mind paying more, the CR-V and RAV4 remain the top picks. If you want something sportier and more upscale, the CX-5 deserves a look. But if you value comfort, features, and a lower entry price, and you're willing to take the time to find the right example, a used Nissan Rogue can be a very rewarding buy. The key is going in with your eyes open, knowing exactly what to check, and making sure the deal you get leaves room for the unexpected. If you found the video useful, be sure to hit the like button to support us. Thank you.